Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So today I'm here with my bestie, Jessica.
Hi guys.
Today we're going to be talking a little bit about a day in the life of a nursing student for our theory days, and then we're going to be talking a day in the life of a nursing student in our clinical days. So if you're interested in watching that, just keep on watching. We're just going to talk a little bit about what we do on theory days and then what we do on our clinical days. So let's start with Jess. Tell us a little bit about how you go through your day for theory days, and then we'll go on to talking about clinical. So just what time do you wake up? What's your morning routine?
Yeah, so on Mondays I wake up around 7-ish, 6:30, and I have my breakfast, get all my paperwork ready, make sure I have everything for lecture, that I'm prepared, and then we start class at 8 a.m. so I'm there usually about 15 minutes beforehand, and then we have lecture for a few hours, and then we have a break in between, and then we have our afternoon lecture. And so we start about at 8 a.m. and then with the break in between and then afternoon lecture, we're done around 3 o'clock, sometimes a little bit after 3, but that's pretty much what our day looks like on Mondays.
So our lunch break is usually 2 hours, so sometimes we'll just go out and like have lunch. We won't study usually like how everybody else does, but
I just don't feel like it's like necessary to study at that time because we're already retaining so much information from morning lecture, and we're going to be getting even more information during afternoon lecture. Like, I feel like that's our time to give ourselves a break.
Yeah, you're sitting in that chair for what? We start at 8 and then we end at 11, and then we start back at 1, so 9, 10, 3 hours. That's 3 hours straight of theory, and we only get about like 2 10-minute breaks, if that.
If that, yeah.
But yeah, my morning kind of sounds the same. I wake up around like 6:45, get up, feed my cat, feed myself. I usually shower the night before, so I don't shower in the mornings. I usually just do my makeup, put my hair up the way it is right now, and then leave. And then that's pretty much it for the theory day. We just have theory all day, and it's just so much information. Do you study after theory on Mondays, or?
It depends. If I know that I have other things going on later in the week, then sometimes I will. Especially for med surg, I study after lecture on Mondays, but for the most part I don't.
Yeah. I think I've told you guys before, I don't usually like to study right after my clinical, I don't like to study right after my theory days because I just feel like I need to give myself a break. And then after my clinical days, once everything has kind of just soaked in and I've been able to apply what I've learned in theory to clinical, it kind of makes more sense when I'm studying for it on like Wednesday or Thursday. So far we've only had clinical 1 day a week, 12 hours, and soon we'll be having 2 days a week, 8 hours? They're 8 hours, right?
Are they?
I think so. Or 6 hours.
I think they're 6.
6.
Yeah, because I think it's like 6:30 in the morning till like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1. Oh, I guess it is almost 8 hours.
Yeah. But usually it's nice to take whatever we learned in theory on that Monday and apply it in clinical. So how do you go through your clinical days?
Like from waking up in the morning? Yeah, I just, when we had the 13-hour shift, I would get up at like 4 in the morning and then get ready and then drive from where I live about like 30, would you say it's like 30, 40 minutes away?
From where we went, yeah.
It was about like 30, 40 minutes away. And then we'd hop on the metro, which is a subway, and we would take that and it would drop us off right in front of the hospital. We'd get there like a half hour early, and then we'd kind of just talk amongst our peers, and then we would start our shift, and then it would be like 13 hours. So we'd get report, and then we'd give report at the end, and then do the whole process of taking the subway, getting back in our cars, and then driving home. So we'd end up waking up at like 4 in the morning, and then getting home at like 9 something at night. So it was a really, really long day.
Yeah.
The benefit is that we only have that one day, and then we're free the rest of the week to study. But it is pretty exhausting, so
Oh
you
my
kind
God,
of like
yes.
recuperate the next day, if that. Kind of like the tiredness like kind of lingers on. But then for med surg coming up, we'll have 2 separate days, and we'll be waking up probably around like
5:30.
yeah, probably
maybe
like
around-
5:30, and then getting up and getting ready, and then driving maybe like 20-30 minutes from here.
Depends on what route you take, but yeah, around that.
Yeah, and yeah, so that's pretty much my day in clinical. And then we have like, for med surg, there's a lot of medications to look up and things like that. So the things that we learn and apply in clinical could be like nursing diagnoses, like sometimes in lecture they'll give examples of those that we can apply towards the clinical setting. And yeah.
Yeah, my clinical for this first part was the same way, waking up at 4:20, and then I'd leave probably in like 30 minutes, carpool, pick up some more of the students, and then we'd go to the metro. So same deal, and then she'd meet us there, and then we just all go together so that we weren't alone on the metro, because it was a little scary, wouldn't you say, if you were by yourself?
Yeah.
Just some interesting people on that metro for sure. But
Yeah, you probably wouldn't want to be by yourself.
but I think the 12-hour shift is nice, because you kind of get an idea of what nurses deal with. It could be 3 days in a row, or
some of them 5.
5 days in a row.
Yeah, one of the
depends
nurses.
on like how the week starts. Like if they end on, what is it, like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then the new week begins, they could work like the beginning of that week too. So it's crazy, and you could just imagine how exhausted they are. Some of these nurses even have kids, so I was just like, with how exhausted I am, I could just imagine how exhausted she is. She has a kid.
Yeah, but
So-
I would also take into consideration the fact that we're leaving from where we live and waking up at 4 in the morning to get there to start our shift. Most of those nurses didn't live too far from the hospital, so they're getting a couple more hours, which totally makes the difference from what we're getting. So if they wake up at like, I don't know, 6:30 in the morning, and then get there at like, throw themselves
7 or
together.
7:15,
yeah,
yeah.
and get themselves together and get there at like 7 or 7:15. They're not missing much sleep, as opposed to us who woke up at 4. So if they get off at their shift and they live closer, they can go home at 7:30, whatever, shortly after they give report.
And still get home at like a decent hour.
Yeah,
Wow.
like 7:45, 8 o'clock, where we're getting home at around 9 o'clock, if not after. So it's just, it will be different, hopefully, once we get jobs eventually and live closer to the hospital that we work at.
That's like what, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16-hour day if you really think about it. I got home around like 9 o'clock at night, and if we woke up at 4 o'clock, that's like a 16-hour day.
And then you're so exhausted that it's hard to fall asleep sometimes.
Well, for her, not me. I could go to sleep anytime.
For me, it was hard to fall asleep, like, after being so exhausted.
What
Yeah.
do you do when it's hard for you to fall asleep?
Nothing really. I just kind of lay there until I fall asleep because I'm so tired, but at the same time it takes me a little longer. But sometimes I would just knock out and just lay down and fall asleep.
Yeah, I mean, that's really how our day in the lives go. I mean, I've seen a couple nurses actually do a day in the life where they would show them getting ready in the morning and actually going to work, but I feel like I couldn't do that. It would just be way too early for me to start a video that early. So I just thought I'd tell you guys and then have someone else tell you as well what she does, because it's pretty similar, especially because we're in the same nursing program. But I want to know, how do you guys do your day in the life of your nursing program? It must be different, or if it's the same, let us know. I'd love to know. Maybe we can change our routines or pick up some ideas that you guys use to kind of wake yourself up in the morning, because those clinical days, oh my gosh, could be very debilitating sometimes when you're waking up that early. So let us know in the comments, or if you have any questions or comments or concerns, you can email me right here at futurenursenicole@gmail.com, and I'll answer them. You know what? I will. So is that all you have to say?
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Alright, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye. You can't laugh.
Okay.
You're gonna already start laughing.
Okay, how does this work? Yeah, so on Mondays, okay, I need to silence that.